1069 Click FM. Live in color.
All right. I feel that I need to say this at the top. This is not meant to be a burial of any team. It's just, well, for a lot of teams around the league, this season hasn't gone the way that they planned, and that might be a little bit difficult to talk about today, especially for some mods in the chat right now. Yeah. So for today only, Ass Talk is sponsored by Screw City Lager from the Prairie Street Brewing Company. Remember, folks, you never forget your first trip to Screw City. And if you do, you may not have been there in the first place. But yeah, I've been saying over and over, both privately and occasionally a few times in public, that you can really start to evaluate a team after week 5. And here we are in week 6. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and give the best informed opinion that I can about all 32 NFL teams. But we're going to get to that after we get to coverage of the other sports. For anybody who's wandered in by accident, by the way, hi. My name is Jim B. This is a show called Ass Talk, just trying to sort through the enormous amounts of noxious clouds of sports prognostication to find some nuggets of truth, which, let's be honest, can be tough to find since Twitter became less of a news source. But that's a different issue for a different show, really. I think my first question has to be, and this, it's all right if you weren't there for the Maple Leafs Canadiens stream that I did. If you weren't, you missed a whole lot of goals. The first official pizza of the season, and going through overtime all the way to a shootout. And we checked off so many bingo spaces we would have if we were playing bingo on that night. But the other thing that I realized about 2/3 of the way through the game is that the feeling I got watching the Toronto Maple Leafs was that the game was unfolding in a very familiar way. In a way that I have heard described by one Mr. Steve Dangle of relying on the high-end talent, it seems, to come and save the day, if I may borrow a phrase from the immortal tree. I am hoping that that is not the case for this season because Toronto made some big commitments as far as their, big players and who they signed to big contracts. And I think they're determined to get things to work this season. I saw in that game Ryan Reeves making an immediate physical impact, but I don't know if trying to play physical like that is going to be able to keep them, is going to be sustainable for long on that team. I mean, I hope it is, but for the sake of their fans, I'm willing to wait and see. Now, I did want to see who is here. We've got Corn Man, William, True North so far. That's cool. Corn Man, I did want to ask you, for this upcoming game about that you got coming up against the Browns. It seems like it should be an easy game for them to win. Do you expect any of your starters to be sat? Maybe give, anybody who has nagging injuries a chance to recuperate and heal. Give some, I don't know, give some of the backbench guys an opportunity to get some live game execution. Because I don't know about you, but a Deshaun Watson-less Browns being led either by DTR or PJ Walker, I had caught really quickly before I came on here that PJ Walker was supposed to be starting. I mean, you, Corbin, you heard DTR, so I'm not sure which one is more up to date or which one is correct at the moment. So I think this would be the perfect week for it. Also, is anybody confused that the teams that we have in the League Championship Series on both sides, Rangers, Astros, other side, Diamondbacks, Phillies. Am I the only one who gets the feeling that the National League might have a good chance of taking the World Series this year? Whichever one of them ends up doing it. I'm not sure if I can trust the Rangers. The Houston Astros have been very hot and cold, especially at the end of the season. They were losing in some ridiculous ways to ridiculous teams. If it's anything like the Cowboys game, you expect the defense to be benched with 4 minutes in the third quarter. Okay. But on the offense, everything is going to remain the way it is. All right. I mean, fair's fair. No better way to make things easier on your defense than to pressure Cleveland to try and play catch up with a lot of points scored on them. So, okay. And I also figured out where the geese were hiding and why I wasn't able to interview them. They've all been up in the industrial park a couple north of town in Rockton. So I guess they were tired of me asking about Canadian sports teams. Bit of a shame. I think they were some of my favorite people to talk to. Anyway, NHL. Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that the Kraken got blanked by the Predators 3-0, and that the Panthers came out and didn't score any against the Wild, who ended up winning 2-0. So, yeah, early season NHL definitely uprooting expectations and reminding us that not everything carries over from the year before, especially in the first couple of games. In the fourth, okay. 4 minutes in the fourth. Okay, that makes sense. Offense came out after Mason scored a TV. That was with 14:06 in the third. Oh, damn. Okay. I saw that. I did see briefly what happened to the Sharks. I thought maybe better not to mention it. Just because the Sharks have, I feel like they've been kind of circling the drain the past couple of years since their window slammed shut, which is unfortunate. I've always had a soft spot for the San Jose Sharks. It's the same reason I have a soft spot for the Panthers and the Jaguars. They were exhibition teams that came into being during my lifetime. So, yeah, I've been quietly rooting for the Sharks to get a cup of their own one day. Here's hoping. All right, so just to let you all know, I will be taking in Penguins Capitals tonight just for my own, education. and to see how badly the Capitals need to fix things in the post Cup haze that they've been in for the past few years. So I'll get you a full report on that at some point. Yeah, that is a good question, Cardman. The thing is, the I did tune in to Grassi and Perna for the stream of that game. I refused to watch the game itself. But did anyone ever end up bringing up at a certain point that the Chiefs have Matt Nagy as their offensive coordinator? You know, and I don't know how long of a leash he's getting from Andy Reid to be the offensive play caller, but it feels like it's pretty long, like at least the length of maybe a couple yards to the point of uselessness. So, I mean, it doesn't feel like. All right, better explanation. You know, this is how it works in my head. Kansas City Chiefs, you know, have Patrick Mahomes, who's a mobile quarterback. He can extend plays, he can run, and but that first part, extending the plays, you know, that that is a gift for wide receivers to find a spot to be open. And I think that that may need to be emphasized more with this wide receiver core. Hopefully, it will continue. They'll continue to develop through the season, but yeah, I. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after I think he was a Reed protege, and that he had been hyped up as such when he became the head coach at Chicago. So, and this was at the time when I think Reed was in the business of turning the Chiefs around. Also, a good point, True North. Yeah, don't hire anyone as Matt as an offensive coordinator. Just hire Ben, I suppose, if you can. But yeah, I did, full disclosure, I did make a bet with Rachel. Yes, that Rachel. Um, regarding whether or not the Chiefs could would win the AFC West, and I think for her sake, and for the sake of the song that she will have to sing, um, we better hope that the Chiefs wide receivers, figure out a way to make themselves better targets for Mr. Mahomes. Oh, Cardman, yeah, you can still gloat about that. I think you have gloating rights right through the end of the Dallas Cowboys LA Chargers game. Yeah. And maybe a little bit beyond that, pending the result. Because, oh, poor Cowboys. Poor Cowboys. Yeah, they do feel a bit like the Chargers. It's like it is the Spider-Man meme in action. They are they are just disappointing for what we could have possibly expected out of them. Yeah, I know, poor Cowboys. Mm, yeah, I'm not saying the way that this is the way it is, but it feels like their status that they've been able to hold onto as America's team for so many years, it's afforded them a little bit of protection. And, because they're a big market because of that. They have fans all over, so it's always a good ratings bump when you can do a Cowboys game. And I think it's kept their confidence up, but it's also maybe made them a little bit blind to problems that could be within the organization of the team. hmm I don't think it's just you, True North. Absolutely not. No. What those four or five really good teams are this year, that's probably up for debate. But maybe I can take a dig at it myself as soon as we get to that part of the schedule. By the way, thank you all for getting me USC versus Notre Dame, another primetime friggin' Notre Dame game. I do see that the Fighting Irish have dropped to number 21 in the rankings, so maybe we can make them drop a little bit more. Something to celebrate. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Hope you are as well. So I'm going to be going through via the schedule so I can just have the teams going out of order and I don't get stuck in any particular modes of thinking. So we'll start with the teams that are going to be on a bye this week. Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. Packers, you're not dead yet. It's Jordan Love's first game in the field, and there is a big, big difference between backing up and taking all the notes and actually having to lead the charge down the field. And I'm sure you've heard it that, Aaron Rodgers and maybe even Brett Favre had terrible records their first season. But from the moments that I've been able to see Mr. Jordan Love do some good things when he's back there. Yeah, exactly, Logan. The season is a marathon, not a sprint, which is why I'm not going to bury them and say that they're out of the running for the wild card. I think they have time to turn things around. A big help will be this bye week, to recover the many injured players that are currently cluttering up the bench. But for the first time in a while, the Packers have looked vulnerable, and I think there's a lot of very short-sighted people who are looking for another victim to chew on that have smelled blood in the water. Oh no, and I wouldn't doubt that there are Packers fans who are in panic mode. I mean, this is a different circumstance than many of them have been able to have found themselves in, in a number of years. Yeah, the Vikings, yeah, still a lot to play, lots of football left to play, and the Vikings just kind of confuse me. For all that they have been able to do, even though they built up their offense, they forgot their defense, and now it seems like they've kind of forgotten how to do both. Yeah. The one bit of joy that it gives me is imagining the NFL schedule makers who put together the Lions and the Vikings at the end of the season because the Vikings won the division last year, and it was assumed that the Lions would be competing for it this year. So they thought, let's line it up, save ourselves the trouble. I can only imagine how much Pepto-Bismol those people are chugging thinking of how they just totally screwed themselves on on the scheduling. But yes, lots of time to play. But the image of the uber capitalists getting nervous does fill me with a bit of joy. Meanwhile, Logan informs me that the Badgers are 9.5 point favorites against the Iowa Hawkeyes. I don't think the Hawkeyes are even ranked at the moment, are they? Or if they do, I'm not sure where they are in the standings. MLIF standings. Okay. Top 25. Here we go. Okay. No Iowa, no Iowa, no Iowa. Yep, no Iowa. Let's see. Is Wisconsin? Why is no... Oh, Wisconsin's not up there either. Damn. Wisconsin did get votes for the latest AP poll, so people do know that they're there. I don't blame you, Cornman. I don't blame you for rooting Stanford over Colorado. Honestly, at this point, I kind of root Stanford over Colorado, if only to, ruin the Deion Sanders hype machine. Logan would know the answer to that question better than I would, Kaylee. He is a diehard Badgers fan, so you can definitely expect an honest assessment of the team's abilities out of him. Iowa and ranked should never be used in the same sentence, says Cornman, unless it's Iowa will never be ranked until the world ends. Bold statement. Meanwhile, the Steelers. At this point, I just say the Mike Tomlin BS will continue until y'all improve the offensive line and make sure that you're not going to kill Kenny Pickett in his second damn year on the team. I'm just going to accept that the Steelers will get into 9-8 and maybe just luck their way into a playoff spot, a number 7 wild card. And the cries will come forth, Packers gonna Super Bowl. It's gonna hurt and it's gonna set them back at least a couple more years as far as putting their team together. Speaking of which, Ravens, best of luck to you. Stock up on the ice packs. The worst part is they're playing the Titans, who I'm not sure if I'm the only one who just mentally checked out of keeping up with the Titans after they traded away A.J. Brown, because in the same way, actually, that the Denver Broncos slicing Randy Gregory and Frank Clark away after all the effort to sign them and, give them big contracts, and the logic disconnect is the same thing that I felt when the Titans traded away A.J. Brown. And so I'm not sure exactly who is responsible for the boneheaded moves that appear to be getting made in there, but yeah, I'm not going to wrap my heart too tightly around the Titans. Why do you get another London game? What is the next London game? Yes. London games. Oh, that is the London game, isn't it? Yeah. Bugger. Because it's money, man. It's money. That was the weird thing. That episode came out a couple of years before they fought. Let me see actually when that episode came out because I have to see John Elway Super Bowl wins. This is something we should definitely establish for the timeline. Yeah. Leading the Broncos to their first ever Super Bowl victory in 1998 and 1999. Okay. Now, we take Homer owns Denver Broncos. You only move twice. Yep. I knew it. Debuted on November 3rd, 1996. That'd be a couple of years before John Elway would finally take the Broncos to the Super Bowl. And I tell you this as a person who was there and watched people who cheered just as loudly for the Green Bay Packers cheer even louder for John Elway because people had seen him struggle for so many years in Denver and put his body through so much. But then time passes and that episode becomes relevant again, and then Peyton Manning shows up and whoop, Broncos are on top, and now, wow, it's like the Simpsons were right all along. For every single season that occurred after that episode aired, and nobody questioned it when the Broncos won the Super Bowl. Things always happen in a vacuum for football fans, and I love it. Anyway, Panthers. Yeah, the Screw City is definitely here for you as well. Just try not to make eye contact with the Dolphins and hope they don't realize that the players you put on the field are made out of cardboard. You'll lose, but you'll get away unscathed. I'm not sure if Mike McDaniel can differentiate real people from cardboard cutouts after he's had a couple sucks on his vape. Saints, Texans. Oh. By the way, Dolphins, I am not sure whether to classify them as one of the really good teams. Like, they can go complete air raid, but they also feel like they don't have much to support with on defense except in those really, really dire moments. Hey, maybe it's a motivational point line, Kaylee. That could be all it is. True North, I think the Texans are okay. The Texans of this year are to the Lions of their 3-13-1 season. Like, you can see the progress being made even though it's not showing up in the wins losses column. You know, even though CJ Stroud is running for his life, I think the fact that he is doing so much to keep the team in games, I hope it inspires the Texans office to get him a line that will protect him and drill into their heads that, yes, please protect this quarterback for us. And I would, honestly, if they don't, I would hope D'Amico Ryan would burn the whole thing to the ground. Yeah, like I said, Cordman, sometimes it just definitely lines up. And Logan will understand this because they're like every year when the Packers are good, I actually really secretly hope, of being able to spread around to all of my Packer fan buddies that clip of everybody from the Giant and Spider invasion yelling, "Packers won the Super Bowl." Meanwhile, I'm informed that Wisconsin Badgers women's volleyball is ranked number 1 in the county. They're 15-0. Oh, country, I hope. Oh, Nebraska volleyball. Oh, we're getting some Big Ten volleyball smack talk. Are Nebraska and Wisconsin going to play each other? Exactly, Logan. Woo Packers. Dedicated to the memory of Leroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. All right, now where did I leave off in my ramblings about teams? Saints, I'm sorry that Derek Carr has not worked out for you like all of us hoped that he would, and it feels like Chris Olave is getting wasted on your team. We are very sorry that you keep devolving back into the Aints. Please, please come back. The Commanders. Oh. Oddly optimistic. It's clear that they're getting some weird offensive fire in their belly by how, Sam Howell is doing all kinds of madness, and probably Eric Bieniemy is like that little brother who finally got a hold of the Xbox controller and is determined to show how well he can do. And I love the energy. I just wish they had a better O-line. And especially against the Falcons, who I remember giving our O-line a few problems as well. Granted, we also had a couple of major injuries that we were dealing with, and yeah, Falcons at least I feel like are trying to get themselves on the right track. Bijan's doing well for them. Ritter seems to have turned things around in the past couple of games, and maybe if we squint real hard, we can ignore that Arthur Blank is still there, but, I'm not disappointed. Nebraska and Wisconsin play later this month. They are 1-2 and both undefeated so far. On October 21st, the cheapest ticket right now is $374 for volleyball. Oh. Are we going to have to cover that game? If I could find a stream or a legitimate broadcast of that game, are we going to have to cover it? Because I think we're going to have to at this point. There's been enough back and forth talk between the two of you that I think we need to hash it out. It's on Big Ten Network? Oh, I have Big Ten Network. Oh, this is definitely going to happen. I am writing this down so I don't forget. Don't forget. Nebraska versus Wisconsin women's volleyball, October 21st, Big Ten Network. Oh, this is happening. Oh, this is definitely happening. I am so excited for this. It's going to be like the women's NCAA tournament all over again. I cannot wait. To your question, Mr. True North, which New Jersey NFL team is worse right now? Yeah, I think it's no contest. It's the Giants purely because of the injuries that are wiping out their team right now. Of course, the fact that the Giants fans right now are going through some emotional whiplash when you consider from last year when everybody got shocked by them. It's like, oh, holy crap, Dable got everything together after one season. I can't wait to build on this. And then it realized that he was using old Legos that had half of the little raised tabs missing, so they couldn't connect very well anymore. So, yeah. Mm. Yeah, I choose to believe, honestly, Cordman, that Logan is very cute, but kind of in that like dangerous. Your mom doesn't really want you to hang out with him, but you do anyway, just because you want to find out about all the mystery. That's sort of cute. Absolutely. But yeah, even though the Jets aren't, racking up too many victories, they're at least staying competitive, and Zach Wilson hasn't tried to sneak out via the Holland Tunnel yet. So, the Jets, yeah, I mean, neither things have gone right for either team. The Giants seemingly falling off a cliff, and then four snaps from Aaron Rodgers, and yeah, that's it. I apparently got whispers from the little demons that live in my phone that Rodgers has been spotted walking without crutches already. So yeah, I'm I will remain skeptical until he is back on the field and they bring him back, WrestleMania style in week 11 or 12. By God, that's Aaron Rodgers music. And it's just, Novocaine for the Soul by the Eels or something. Oh yeah, you're just in time, Luke. Absolutely just in time. Mm, mm. I did want to say, Luke, my sympathies for your narrow loss over the Devils, but we'll see. Hopefully, that can mean something good for you because Devils were a playoff contender last season. Being able to hang with them could mean a lot more than we think for for your team's rebuild. Man, don't scoff. Don't talk down women's soccer players, man. They get brutal out on the field. Absolutely brutal. I wouldn't want to screw with them. They own cleats. They could fuck you up. I'm not sure. Probably just the rest of the general madness. Anyway, Colts and Jaguars. I hate that I was right that they ground Anthony Richardson into injured reserve glue. Now let's hope they don't do the same to Gardner Minshew, but I am at least pleased that he's taking advantage of this opportunity to try to rally the team around him and whoop them up as best he can. And it's like you just can't help but get excited when you see Minshew go full Minshew because it is like Uncle Rico's finally getting that chance to win the big game. Yeah, Minshew revenge game. Mm, oh. Mm. Oh, this is actually something good to bring up. True North, what exactly annoys you about the game day decisions about whether or not to play? Is it the fact that it's the players themselves? Because that seems like the way you're phrasing it, you're making it seem like it's a player's exclusive decision, not like a and not like a collaboration with coaches or anything like that. So is that the exact problem, or is it something else that I'm not discerning from how you worded it? Because I kind of like to think players being able to err on the side of caution, is good, because they know how their body feels, and if they feel if they feel like they can speak up and not only be taken care of, but make sure that they have a better chance of keeping their position when they healed up. So I don't know. Maybe we're talking past each other because of the lack of context through chat. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, I wish that they would figure out a way to protect Trevor Lawrence better, especially on his blind side, or else they're going to give all their games away through fumbles. So, yeah, that's my only complaint right now. They surprised the hell out of me when they were able to take care of the Bills in London. I honestly didn't think they were going to win it. The game day inactives are the most nerve-wracking. I mean, I'll give you, just to, you know, let you know that I'm doing this stuff, doing the same thing myself over here. I'll go through the current injury report for the Lions, and this is updated as recently as today, Friday. The Jaguars to wait a week before figuring out how to pass block. You know, drop them a line. You may be able to convince them otherwise, Kaylee. You never know. Someone with your power and influence. Anyway, now we know about Brian Branch. We know he has that severe ankle injury. He's going to be out for a while. Jahmyr Gibbs did not practice on Friday. He's still going to be out. Then we've got Jonah Jackson, one of our guards. James Mitchell still out. Also, Bam Knight, a running back we had brought in briefly, is currently out for shoulder injury. Didn't practice any time this week. And Joshua Pascal, limited practice. Khalil Dorsey, however, even with full practice, is questionable because of illness. Sam Laporta is questionable, even though he had limited practice today because of calf injury that he suffered in practice. Meanwhile, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that, both Decker and Ragnow will be available to play because they're major parts of our offensive line, and yeah, a big part of our game plan is dominating offensive line, and I would feel better if the starters were there. And also, Monra St. Brown, abdomen injury, but he's listed as being a participant in full practice both today and yesterday. So the odds are looking better that he's going to come back, but everyone else, yeah, it is just hoping for me that the next person up is going to fill the gap that they leave. Oh, they blocked your number? Damn, that's a shame. Ah, crap. Do you think the Jaguars players bought houses in London since they were there for 2 weeks? Housing prices in London? They couldn't afford it. Not even close. I'm sure it would make things a lot easier, if they had a consistent place to crash, but they'd probably end up having to lease, and it'd be easier just to own. Yeah, the NFC's answer to the Baltimore Ravens, a roster capable of winning it all, but an inability to stay off the treatment table. Well, there are certain players who are getting more full practices and aren't on the list at all anymore. So, at least I can feel a little bit better about that. But everything else, yeah, still gives me a bundle of nerves in my stomach. IR for Justin Jefferson for a hamstring injury. Might be. Sometimes these things just go until I figure that I've said everything I needed to say for the day. And we still got other teams to get through. So, yeah. Seahawks? Oh, Seahawks. The day our paths cross again. Oh, it will be exciting. It will be exciting. I had heard mutterings about Geno Smith being injured. I don't know if they were talking out their ass when they said that. Um, all right. Well, they indicate that he got, oh, 34 minutes ago, Mr. Tom Pelissero from wherever he's from. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and Charles Cross are all off the injury report and good to go Sunday against the Bengals. That will be a big help for them. Yeah, I think anybody else underestimates the Seahawks at their own risk. That even goes for the 49ers. Bengals, the Bengals are on thin ice with me specifically for putting Joe Burrow out on the field with that calf injury because you could tell how much it was limiting his throwing ability. And it scares me who else they may be making play through injuries right now. So, um, the Bengals, I'm not sure how much rope they're giving themselves to be hung with, but it looks like they're trying to gather up a lot. Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. Vikings, I have no solutions for what ails you. I always, as a former Commanders fan, I felt for Kirk Cousins, being essentially the a backup choice that nobody really wanted. So when he got his bag with Minnesota, I'd be like, it'd be funny if he won a championship with them after being just essentially not wanted and cast off. But they have not been able to build a complete team around him. I'm not saying that solely because of the contract, but. And meanwhile, Justin Fields, yeah. I wanted so much better for him and for the Bears to actually have, commit to a passing offensive style for once. But damn it, sell the team, McClaskey's, or at the very least, give Chicago an opportunity to get a second franchise that will play out of Soldier Field and maybe make it another community-owned franchise. I could imagine there would be many people who would be willing to actually, be shareholders of a second Chicago football team if it meant they didn't have to root for the Bears or support the McClaskeys anymore. I know it'll never happen, but one can dream. I did see that. Oh, that was that was such a joy to watch, especially for the celebration for Houston afterwards. Anytime, especially for Houston, because I know their basketball team has been, you know, making its presence felt in the NCAA tournament as of the past couple of years. So this feels like a cool step forward for their entire program. I can respect it. Yeah, I think that may also be part of it. You could call it, the fans of Chicago practicing BDS on the McClaskeys and the Chicago Bears franchise. And because they want to be separated from the unhealthy element that they consider to be Aaron Rodgers. And I mean that in all the best possible ways. Yeah, that was a very wild ending. And it's the reason why I still love to watch college football. 49ers, it's your Super Bowl to lose at this point, and let's hope you don't get infected with the injury bug. Meanwhile, just tell your defense to keep, getting meager points for me in fantasy football, and we're good. The Browns. Oh, the Browns. I have to put the drink down for this. Um, yeah, the story of the Browns has been real interesting over the past few years. I do remember a specific point when it was kind of accepted that when they got Deshaun Watson, a lot of people were just going to be checking out of, supporting the Browns as a sentimental favorite simply because of that. And the people who were supporting it made it clear soon enough that they were supporting it, to either piss people off or for horrible reasons. That would be made clear by what parts of his, history they chose to emphasize and who they chose to denigrate while joking about it. And it is possible to occupy two thoughts at once. I can still dislike Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns organization for bringing him in, and still feel sympathy for the fans who have to suffer through the bullshit that the ownership group and this QB are putting them through. Oh, they're on your fan. You got a big opponent in fantasy football coming up. That's why you need them to go off this week, Cornman. Well, I mean, it's good as. I mean, y'all keep winning the battle for Ontario against the Ottawa Senators, right? So in a sense, Toronto does own two teams. Oh, you're projected to lose by like 10. All right. Considering this, I could see it happening. Oh, Patriots and Raiders. Raiders? Honestly, you and the Patriots are just 6 of one, half a dozen at the other at this point. The Patriots look like an utter mess. The Raiders are chaos incarnate. It's one of those, we love to see them win, but we hate the fact that Josh McDaniels will be able to use that to keep his job. I do not blame either fans of either of these franchises if they are just simply waiting for the draft at this point. Oh, Luke, I am sure that you are enjoying everything that comes along with this bye week. And yes, Angie is cleaning herself over here, I'll get to the Cowboys and Chargers in a bit, okay? Okay? Okay. All right. Because we got into this game, we'll go with the Buccaneers. I coined it very early, the Mayfield Mystery Tour. And people love to see it. The Buccaneers still have that stout defense, and Baker is showing himself, capable of being a good QB. I think this season has turned out much better for the Buccaneers than expected. If Mayfield and all the passing weapons, Evans, Godwin, can start really catching fire, I can see them competing for the NFC South at this rate. Lions, yes, just please let's stay healthy. And if we can't, then just let's keep bringing guys off the bench to fill in. Anybody who's been tuning into the Lions for the past couple of years know that Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds have been getting, so much time to get experience and, get in the rhythm of the first team because of all the injuries that we had to wade through with, the other players we had on our team. So as much as it sucked, having to deal with all those close games and to watch the chemistry building, it was necessary because now Josh Reynolds is the secret weapon that everybody knows about, but nobody can stop. and Khalif Raymond, yeah, same difference. And neither one of them were a, high-level pick. We brought over Reynolds with Goff from Los Angeles, and Raymond, I forget where the hell he came from. Oh yeah, the Bills are also on a bye week this week, and it will help that they're playing the Giants to take some pressure off their defense. Meanwhile, Cardinals, I just want them to keep pissing off everybody they play by refusing to quit. It's so much fun to watch. Josh Dobbs to the moon. Just, let them be a fellow agent of chaos to the Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. LA Rams, y'all lucked out. Y'all really freaking locked out finding Puka. And now with Cooper Kupp coming back and Matthew Stafford finally finding a way to reach these kids, yeah. If y'all could just protect him, that would be even more fantastic. Of course, you couldn't feel content to go back into your blanket. Meanwhile, Nebraska versus Michigan State volleyball tonight at 6 p.m. Oh, I got to get you out of here before then. Definitely, we can't miss that. All right, Eagles, Jets. Eagles, yeah, the East is yours to lose at this point. I don't think there'll be too much dispute about that. A few things kind of feel off as far as this team goes, but they can still, reliably grind out a win. It's just unfortunate that it looks like Jalen Carter might be injured. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing for you. Oh, poor Jets. Just, don't hurt Zach Wilson. He's been through enough. Oh, yeah, Giants, Bills. Oh, I'm not even sure I want to make a card for that. I thought about it for a brief moment, but it would just be too depressing. I wouldn't blame any of you if you skipped that game. Oh yeah, no, the Jets are still trying. Like they have been trying to hang in there and keep themselves in every game. I won't count them out, but against the Eagles, but they're more of a could than a should, as far as they could win this game much more than I think they should. And finally, Cowboys, Chargers. The return of pumpkin spice into the rotation at your local coffee shop. That crisp smell of leaves and maybe a distant bonfire somewhere. And the Cowboys starting out the season dominant and then falling right on their face. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Who the hell do we even have at QB for them anymore? All right. Yes. All the safeties. Oh, good. Cooper Rush is still there. So, should Bob forbid anything happen to Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush is still there. Everything will be okay. I will believe the Eagles are fraudulent when another team passes them to take control of the NFC East. I know that may seem a little bit of an outside chance for this year, but if they truly are fraudulent, then they shouldn't be able to sweep the division. But yeah, right now, I'm willing to say that the only thing that's holding the Cowboys back right now is Mike McCarthy. let's hope they can do better. Even Scooter Magruder deserves it a couple chances to smile. And last but not least, the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I know, yes, there's a long-running bit on this channel that my cat Angie is the Chargers fan, that Monty is the Vikings fan, but someone in my family, my mom specifically, is a genuine Chargers fan. That was the team that she, followed the most growing up in California in the time and the place that she was able to. And she's always kept her fingers crossed that they would make it to a Super Bowl. The one time they did, they essentially got brutalized by the 49ers. I didn't expect Angie to be a pet who would be in a good mood when the Chargers won, but it just kind of worked out that way. And so I always keep my fingers crossed a little bit for the Chargers for sentimental reasons. And then they don't fire Brandon Staley. And I realize, it sucks that Herbert is being wasted like this and being depended on to carry the team with every bit of his broken body. Aaron Rodgers again. I'm with all the old Chargers fans. Sell the team Spanos. Because until then, I don't feel like they're going anywhere. And it sucks to say that. It really does. And there, folks, is my post-week 5 assessment of all the NFL teams. If you feel that I went too far, I can understand. Like I said, I am working off of limited knowledge from what I've been able to gather from highlights, clips, and summaries of the game because it's impossible to watch them all. So, if I've gotten an aspect of your team wrong, I apologize, and I hope to be proven wrong in the future again. Unless y'all have anything more drastic to add, the Eagles this year remind you of the Vikings last year. Ooh, strong words. Let's see how the rest of the season bears that out, because if it's true, damn, playoffs could be real interesting, especially in the NFC. But that's going to be it for Ass Talk today, folks. Been the longest episode we've done in a while, but I've run out of things to say, and I thank you all for sticking it out with me through all the jammering I did. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm going to be back on tomorrow night for USC versus Notre Dame. And, we apparently have booked ourselves into watching women's volleyball next week. So, yeah. Yes! Thanks for being here, everybody. Take care of yourselves. My name is Jim B on 1069 Click FM. Good night, Milwaukee, wherever you are.